Hi, did you know that Python lists can store different types of data and you can even nest them inside each other? Imagine storing a shopping list, movie rankings, or even an entire game leaderboard all inside one single Python list. Sounds interesting, right? So let's dive right in. Welcome back to Python for everyone. In our last video, we introduced Python data structures, lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. If you haven't watched it yet, need not worry. I will mention the link in my description for this video and you can check that out. If you're serious about mastering Python, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Now, let's get started. First of all, in my last video, I did cover an introduction for lists. What are they? For the very first thing I told you was that a list means square brackets. That's how a list is formed. Okay? It allows in lists in Python allow you to store multiple values in a single variable. Okay, for example, let me create one over here. All right, and there we go. That's a list. And how do we know that it's a list? I can check that by typecasting it. What's the type of that variable? It's a list. There you go. Lists are ordered, mutable, basically meaning modifiable, and can store different data types, not just integers like I've done over here. They can also store strings, float values, alongside integers in the same list. Okay. For example, let me try creating another one over here. Let's say I have Python. Okay. And remember, in data structures, every element is comma separated. Every single thing is a different entity altogether. Okay. Over here in B, Python is there. Then let's say I put 3.14, comma, and then 100. So there are three elements in total over here. Okay, one is string, one is float, and one happens to be integer. Okay, let's try printing. There you go. Uh, element 1, element 2, sorry, element 2 and element 3. Okay, the first was a basic list of numbers, integers, and the second one, it has integers, strings, and floats in the same list. Now, let's talk about how we will do indexing and slicing in lists. Ah, come on. Okay, I hope you remember that, when we covered indexing and slicing with strings. For example, if I have Himanshi and I wanted the first character of that string, I will go about doing a square brackets, and the first character indexing always starts with 0. And it's the same thing with lists as well. In string, this is my first character. Okay, now let's say I have another list. I'll create another list with numbers over there, for example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, and I want to print the first element of this list, which is 10. So we will go about A, the name of variable, square brackets, and the first indexing of the first element will be 0. Okay, and I also want to print the last one, A, square brackets, negative indexing, which will be -1. There you go. You can see the first element is 10. It's printed by indexing of 0. The last element is 50. And we printed that by negative indexing for -1. Okay. Now let's try slicing. For example, let's say that I want to take a slice out and only want to print 20, 30, and 40. How will I do that? Again, there will be, I hope you remember the syntax. The syntax of slicing. It is variable's name, okay, square brackets, start, the starting point of your indexing, the end point of your slice, but make sure that you put one extra over there. Put one extra indexing there because for slicing it will stop right before the end point. And step, if there is any. Okay, I've covered that in strings. For now, let's start with slicing a list. Over here, I want 20, 30, and 40. So I will go about doing it as print. A is my variable, square bracket. The starting point will be 1, followed by colon. And see, I want 20, I want this to be printed, 20, 30, and 40, these three elements. The indexing for 20 is 1, so that's our start point. And indexing of 40 is 4. Sorry, indexing for 40 is 3. So my end point will be 4 because for slice, it will take out a slice right before the fourth indexing. There you go. All right, this has extracted elements from that list from index 1, 2, 3. Okay, now in lists, there's another thing. There's something called as nested list. It's basically another list which is inside an already established list. Okay. Um, and you can it can also have elements inside that nested list which you can access using multiple indexes. I'm going to explain that to you now. For example, let's create one nested list. I've named it nested, square brackets again, and let's say I'm creating another nested list over here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's one nested list inside it. Now again, if I'm putting another nested list inside the same one, or if I'm putting another element over there, but which is but it's not in a nested list per se, a regular element, it would still be comma separated. Okay, another square bracket, Python. Okay, let's say I'll put Java over here. Okay, another comma over here, and 100, 200. All right, so in this nested list, elements are only 3. Each nested list is one single element. Okay, but inside that nested list, you have multiple elements, okay, which belong to only and only that nested list, that particular nested list. Okay, let's say I want to print um, the second element of this list which we have just created. The second element will be Python and Java. That's our second element of this list. So oh, sorry, square brackets. Indexing, of course, will be 1 because indexing starts from 0. So 0 indexing, this is our first element. First indexing, and this Python and Java will be our second element. There you go. Now, what if I only wanted to print Python? Okay, I only wanted to I only wanted to work on Python over there. I didn't want to have anything to do with Java. I didn't want to make any changes. I didn't want to have it printed, nothing like that. So how will I do it? I will you can do it directly as well. I'm just putting the print function there. Name of the variable. Okay, now the indexing for this is a second element of that list, so the indexing will be 1. Okay, but outside these square brackets, the following square brackets will be indexing inside that nested list. Okay, so what will be the index of Python over here inside that nested list? 0, because that's the first element of that nested list. Okay, there you go. Let me try it again. Let's give you one more example to clarify the situation more. Let's say I wanted the second element of the third nested list over here. So the third nested list is the last one, which has 100 and 200 over there. So I want the second element of it. The indexing for that third nested list is 2. All right, and then following square brackets uh, to index inside that nested list. Second element, indexing is 1. There you go. Double indexing is basically to access elements from inside a nested list. That's about it. Don't get too confused. We will work more on this as we move forward. Okay, and now how do we perform the length function? We've done it with strings. Okay, for example, A is equal to Mali, and I want to calculate how long is this particular string. So I will go about doing this, and we know this is the length of this string. Okay, that's what we can do with a list as well. Let me do this over here. Okay. All right, so this is the one. Um, okay, len of A is 5. See, it did not go individually on those integers. It didn't go on 1, 0, 2, or 0. It counted, it gave me the length of the list. It counted the number of elements inside that list, which is every one element is 10, the other is 20, all separated by comma, but total length is 5. Let me add more cells over here. Okay, now let's check, let's talk about the membership. We have covered this with strings. Basically, I want to find out if there is a particular number or if it's a particular string which is there in our given list or not. Okay. Um, okay, let's say I have a list over here and I have Python in it. Okay, that's our first element. Then Java. Okay. Oh, sorry. And then we have, let's say, C++. Okay, we have 3 elements in this particular list. Now I want to find out if, the word Ruby is in that list or not. Okay, so I will go about doing, it's a string. Okay, it's the data type of Ruby is string. It's not a variable, so we have to put it in quotes. Ruby, okay, in languages. False. See why? Because this is Boolean. Membership is always works in Boolean data type. There was no Ruby, so we got a false over here. Okay, let's try, to see if Python is there in languages. True, because Python is here, right there. Okay. Let's say, let's see if it's case sensitive. So with a lowercase p, Python in languages. False. See, Python as a language in itself is case sensitive. Always remember that. All right. So from our last video, I gave you all 3 questions to basically work on. The first one was create a list with 5 numbers and print the sum. Okay, so basically there's a function called as sum. What I did, I created a list over here with 1, 2, 3, and 4, 4 integers, 4 elements, and I used the sum function, put the name of variable inside, and calculated 10. Okay, that's how simple it is. And then I'm supposed to make a tuple over here. Tuple always goes with parentheses as brackets. So let's create a tuple with 3 names and print the last one. So basically indexing. I can put any names. Let's put the name of my dogs, Marley, Hendrix, Clapton. All right, always remember, even with tuples, they are comma separated. These are again three elements, comma separated. And I want to print the last one. So the indexing will be -1. B square brackets -1. There you go. The next question was create a dictionary for two movies, and a dictionary has keys and values. Keys are on the left hand side of the colon, and then the values are data sets which are stored inside those keys on the right side of the colon. Title, year, director, and then print the title. That's about it. So I created a list. I've put Inception, for example, is the name of the movie. The year is 2010. The director is Christopher Nolan. Title we already have. Title is basically the key over here. That's it. Year is in the value. Director's name is in the value. Okay, and then print the title. Ah, nothing to it. So how will we do that? There's a function in dictionaries. Basically, it's a method of dictionaries. If I wanted to print only the keys of a dictionary, for example, it's Inception and Interstellar in this scenario. So how will I do that? I will first of all, use the name of the variable, and I only want to print the keys. So keys, brackets. There you go. We have the titles. That's it. And same way, if you wanted to print not the keys but only the values in that dictionary, the same way, movies dot values, brackets. There you go. For some reason, if I wanted to access the entire thing, that's how it will go. All right. So these are the questions that that I gave you to work on in my last video. For this video, I'll give you a few more questions to work on. Okay, let's start with the first one. It's create a list with, let's say, 4 names and print the second and the last name. Okay, it should be remember, it's the second and the last name. Okay, remember that. All right, next question, create a list with numbers and use slicing to print the middle 2 numbers. Okay, create a list with numbers. You can put like 10 different numbers as elements inside it. It doesn't matter. But basically, I want you to slice and print the middle 2 numbers out of it. Okay. Make a nested list this time. Okay, with 3 inner lists. Okay, and print the first element of the second inner list. Okay. Once again, I'll tell you, you need not worry about anything. If you don't understand the question, try it at your end. Okay, even if you can't, write the code for it, even if you don't understand what exactly needs to be done, in my next video, I will be covering them up. Okay. Now, let's check if the number 50 exists inside the list. Which list? I'll provide you with it. This is our list. We can see it does exist, but I want you to write down the code. How would you go about checking it? Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. Then like, comment, and subscribe for more Python tutorials. Let me know in the comments which concept were your favorite today that we have covered. See you in the next one. Bye bye.